guys, welcome back to the channel. I just got back to the shop with my newest purchase, a 2013 C6 Corvette. Of course, it has a 6.2 liter LS3 engine, a proper 6-speed manual transmission, and only 23,000 original miles. But the real cherry on top, it already has a proper head cam package. And that's where the good ends. This Corvette, it quite literally got mowed down by a landscaping trailer. The rear bumper, the quarter panel, the fiberglass rear tub, and even the windshield, they all got smashed in. And of course, it gets worse. While sitting for the past 2 months in the seller's garage, the car's developed some kind of electrical issue. In fact, when I went to pick it up, I couldn't keep it running for more than 10 seconds. At this point, I have no clue what it could be. It could be as simple as a failed fuse box or body control module, or it could be something that's gonna cause us a lot more pain. The only real positive to this is it did allow us to negotiate another $3,000 off the price of the car. All in, we're at $14,000 on this Vette. If everything goes smoothly, we're gonna make a ton of money. And if it doesn't, well, we're just not gonna think about that. This thing's acting kind of rare this morning. It doesn't wanna run for much more than 5 seconds. The lights are flickering. It's just not acting real good.
The weird part is, like, it looks so clean. I never see any interior bit like
so clean.
clean.
It's incredibly clean.
Yep.
One of the cleanest cars I've ever seen. It really looks like a 23,000 mile car. But let's see if it runs like a 23,000 mile car and it'll make it out that door right there. That was driver error, I think. That was driver error.
I tell you, you showed by yourself.
There we go. It made it out the door. I mean, that's all we can ask for this morning. While we obviously can't do it in this condition, every part of me wants to take this thing for a spin down the street because it makes 487 horsepower. In my opinion, it has pretty much the perfect LS3 head cam package, a BTR stage 3 cam, and late model engine cylinder heads. It's almost shocking given how stock and clean this engine bay looks. If you didn't look right down there and see those beautiful American racing headers, you really wouldn't even know that this is a modified car. At some point, it does look like it had an intake on it because this shroud's all cut out. Nowadays, it is running a stock intake. Still makes plenty of power with it, so I'm not gonna complain. While no part of me is looking forward to figuring out what the electrical issues are with this car, that's not the only hurdle we have. We still have to take care of all this back here. As far as the body panels, that's all simple enough. We have a replacement bumper. It's actually in the same color already. We have quarter panels, though we'll have to have them painted. And this door right here, easy enough fix. We'll have to find a mirror glass. No big deal. Where the bodywork becomes just a little bit tougher is when you realize that this rear tub is damaged pretty heavily. So unfortunately, unlike the last black C6 that we rebuilt on this channel, this isn't just a bolt on and go. We actually have to do a little bit of fiberglass work here. I've never personally worked with one of these rear tubs, so it is going to be a first for me, though I am looking forward to the challenge.
To be honest with you, I thought that the 60th anniversary was like a really special car.
So every 2013 is the 60th anniversary. It got these special badges. It just so happens that the 2013s themselves are really rare. You don't see a lot of them. The 2013 pretty much gets the best of everything. You have the stitched door panel, which didn't come on the older cars. Same deal for the center console lid there. You have the best of the best C6 seats. The older ones didn't come with the shoulder bolster. They're a very popular upgrade, not to mention very, very expensive. If we were parting this car out 110%, these will be going to my ZR1. And that's not where the interior upgrades in. We have this newer design steering wheel. It looks awesome. That's the same one I put in my ZR1. We also have the new style carbon center console. Point being, the 2013 is as nice as a C6 Corvette ever got. I love that this thing's just sitting here beeping away behind me, powering on, powering off. I really have no idea what's going on with this thing. We just got to start throwing electrical parts at it and hope one of them fixes it. The previous owner did just put a new battery in it to get it running so we could get it on the trailer. Maybe we got a battery that's just faulty.
Can you imagine if it's just actually a fuse or anything like that? Something simple.
I doubt that's the case, but I would really love it, man. We'll check all the fuses, believe me, but I don't think we're gonna get that lucky. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good does that sound?
I would give you a solid 9.5.
9.5, yeah. I like it. I'm going 9.8. That sounds healthy. I was about to say you had the magic touch because it was actually running for a minute, but never mind.
How was that big?
Right there is about good. Just leave her, we'll push it the rest of the way. One other quick note, I did notice the first time I was in this hatch that this landscaping trailer left something behind. In addition to the quarter tree we got left in the trunk, we actually got insanely lucky on this car. You see right there on the windshield that it's cracked. Something got drug up here and it got caught right there just enough to break the windshield. But where we got really lucky, when I showed up to buy this car, this top, it was in the trunk. He didn't have the top on the car. If it was on the car, best believe this would have got damaged as well. Judging by everything we've seen on this car so far, I can only imagine that it's going to be equally clean underneath. We do have ourselves a broken front fender liner, no big deal, minor details. Those American Racing headers, mint condition, and you might be thinking to yourself, they look like they've never been ran. And that's because this entire build has less than 2,000 miles on it.
Non-Z51's got a little tiny guy.
I heard tiny guy. I thought you were being hard on yourself. But yeah, we're talking about the sway bars. They are small, small, small.
The transmission literally looks like brand new.
Absolutely brand new. And look at the torque tube. Wow, I really haven't seen one this clean before. Even on the 4,000 mile ZR1 that I bought back in the day, it didn't look anything like this. Now that we've given this thing a proper look through, here's the good news on this build. We have the perfect donor car right down here. This car, it's also a 2013. This one's a Grand Sport, but there's a lot that's gonna interchange. I think we're just gonna slap this rear bumper right on it. The nice little bonus we get is the carbon fiber ZR1 style spoiler. The only issue we have there, of course, is we do have a little bit of damage, but we're just gonna have to live with it. This car also gave us a decent condition passenger mirror. We have to see how damaged that one is down there. The paint on this one, unfortunately, not so great. We may be able to buff it, but I think in all likelihood, we're gonna have to paint it. Being that the rest of this car is so nice, I really don't wanna take any shortcuts. I want to do what we need to do to make sure this car looks 10 out of 10. Well, being that we've done that a time or two, that was no problem whatsoever, and I'm honestly surprised the damage back here on the tub is really not as bad as I had imagined. This is what it's supposed to look like from the factory. These lips overlap each other, there's panel bond in there. Let's get the tree bark out of there. Up here where it got hit and pushed in, it just pulled that upper lip inside of the bottom lip. So I'm thinking that once we pull that back over on top of this, everything's gonna kind of fall into place nicely. Another thing we were able to see after we pulled the quarter panel off, this quarter bracket and the rear bumper mating bracket there, both pretty heavily damaged, no big deal whatsoever. It's just yet another part we're gonna be able to snag off this Grand Sport. There we go, good as new. Next up on the agenda, getting all these parts painted. We're running all these parts up to the paint shop this afternoon. We did luck out on that rear bumper, as you guys know, but we still have a little bit of work to do with it. This lower diffuser is just kind of nasty. It's all bent up there. It's kinked. I think we probably could heat this up and get it back to where it needs to be, but why go through all that trouble when we have a beautiful low mileage one right there? Rather than taking a new door out of inventory, I decided to just go ahead and have this one fixed. The damage is so minor that I think that's going to be the easiest route. I did start looking into this mirror housing a little bit, and I still can't place exactly why that mirror glass was missing. One thing we did have to do a little bit of shopping for is a rear quarter panel. Fortunately, we have ourselves a nice coupe rear quarter panel right here in inventory. Being that we got so lucky with that matching rear bumper, this is all we're going to have to send to paint. It's going to make it a really easy process and therefore hopefully a really cheap process. The one other thing I want to try to knock out today before we head up to the paint shop is I want to panel bond this back together. I want to let that set overnight so hopefully tomorrow we can get in here with all this stuff in the right place and get to fiberglassing on it.
Are you a body shop guy now?
I'm a guy that's been to a body shop. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Right back in place. Check that out. I mean, pretty much back in place. Close enough to being in place. My main concern right now is getting this to be the same gap, or at least close as what this is here. If I take my finger out, it goes back down. I think what I'm gonna do is to try to put a shim in on the back side to get it propped up. Then I'll go in from the back, pull it out once we get that bonded and all the panel bonded set. Being that it's separated from that bond, I am going to stick a little extra back here. It's actually going to end up looking really close to the OEM finish there. Well, honestly, I'm pretty happy how that turned out. It might not look OEM when it's done, but I think it's going to hold perfectly. I don't really think there's any gaps. I think it's actually pretty solid. If we let this set up overnight, then we'll be able to get in here first thing in the morning and try to fiberglass this. I have no clue how that's going to go. I've never done it before, but we're about to find out. It's a new day in the shop. The Vette did get kicked out of its lift space for obvious reasons, but it looks like everything's set up really nice overnight. Well, I guess it's easy to say that when the clamps are on it. But let's see how it looks. As long as it doesn't come apart, I suppose it's a win. Looks good to me. It is freezing cold, it's super humid, rainy outside, so the stuff is a little tacky. At some point before we put the panels back on, when this gets much harder, we will sand that down just so it looks a little more presentable there. I do think we really lucked out that there's no missing material here. It's just crack, it's bent over itself there. All the broken fibers are still there, so I think we're gonna get away without using any fiberglass mat. One thing I have never used before, this pigment. We're gonna try to color this so it matches that stock tub. I have no idea how that's gonna go. What is this? As I'm sure most of you guys already know, we deal with a lot of Corvettes here. One thing I have never seen, this. I was pulling out some of the stuff in the tub to make sure we don't get any fiberglass on anything, and found this guy. It looks like kind of like a Bible or something. It has the Corvette logo on it there. It's just a really, really fancy owner's manual. There's a note in here. This is the driver's handbook. I know I'm holding this kind of awkwardly, but there's a VIN number as well as the guy's name there, so I'm trying to block that out. It's just a really cool little letter here. A very cool piece that I can say with certainty is staying in my collection and not going with the car. Personally, I'd rather have the whole section covered, even if it's not what came from the factory, rather than just having patches of gloss black everywhere.
Is that fiberglass?
Fiberglass, black fiberglass.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's custom mix myself. Don't ask me about it. It's top secret.
Who told you the secret?
Family recipe. All right, we're pretty much settled up for the first coat there. I'm not sure how that's gonna dry. I presume that we're gonna have to do another coat. Well, team, we had a couple days hiatus, but after letting this sit for about a week, this is finally hard, even with the freezing temperatures we've had. Fortunately for us, it wasn't a big deal whatsoever to wait a little bit because we got our parts back from paint as well. The door, it looks awesome. The fender, we got that stashed up here for now. The paint turned out fantastic on it. It's an absolute perfect match. As for where we left off in here, I had started sanding on it just a little bit. I wanted to see how close to the factory finish I could get. I'm thinking that once we sand all this and make it look halfway smooth, it's going to end up being pretty close to the factory material. If nothing else, at the very least, it's going to be a lot closer than this difference. Well, my original issue was there was too much gloss in it. Now it's too light. Even with the pigment, as much as we sand it, there's still just white in it. We've cleaned it off with anything and everything I could think of. I have a feeling that down the road, we're gonna end up just having to spray this with something. If any of you guys happen to know of a good color match for this, comments, please. Yeah, scratch those suggestions. When I have a problem, I want to solve it, and honestly, I can't stop thinking about it until I do solve it. So last night I went out and bought, I think 10, 11, 12, maybe a few more different kinds of black spray paint. I tested them on a spare tub we had. Every single one looked like shit. Roughly $150 lighter in the pocket, and the proud new owner of a black spray paint collection, I was pretty bummed out that none of them solved our problem until one man came to the rescue. Yeah, turns out what we needed was in the shop all along. It worked phenomenally. This is the factory color right there. All the way over here, we spread it out, and you really can't tell much of a difference. Is it a perfect match? Absolutely not, but I'd give it an honest 8 out of 10 at least. It looks really, really good in a way that paint just can't. That stuff is awesome, and it's not paint, right?
No, it's not. It's just basically helps you to do like the full restoration of the black colors.
Lesson learned, anytime I feel the need to spend my entire paycheck on black spray paint, I'm trying that stuff first. We show you plenty of good on this channel, but you know when I screw something up, I try to be open about it and show you guys that too. Maybe you guys can learn something, maybe you can teach me something. That has happened on more than one occasion. I'm positive some of you guys noticed when I laid down that fiberglass, I went heavy with it. On this side, I went all the way up there, and on the back of the car, I brought it all the way out here to the center. My idea with that is it was going to give me plenty of room to sand. There'd be a cut line, I don't know, somewhere around there, maybe around there. It wouldn't be right there. When I started sanding, it was with a pretty heavy grit. I had a lot of material to take off. The problem is, by the time I worked myself up to a 220, a 300, whatever I finished with, I had worked myself back to about right there. It started chipping away. It just doesn't look good. Honestly, it does kind of bug me. I was hoping to have this look as OEM as possible, and we didn't accomplish that. I learned a lot. I'm positive next time we do one of these, we can make it 10 times better. But for now, I am sure there's one thing we can knock out of the park. All right, team, we've officially reached the end of the easy portion of this rebuild. The body is completely 10 out of 10, 100% done. Aside from the fact that it has this carbon fiber ZR1 style spoiler on it, you really can't tell this wreck ever happened. The car looks so clean.
Can you call this clean? Look.
Fernando, they know what I meant. The car itself is clean. It's dirty, but it's clean. Come on, back me up on that. You knew what I meant. Not that we didn't know this was going to be the case, but as of right now, we're still in the car dirt cheap. The bodywork, the paintwork, $850. The windshield up there, $375. The new A-pillar we had to buy, $52. We've only had to put $1,277 in it, so we're at $15,277. So what it comes down to now is how cheaply can we fix this electrical issue. That's going to determine if this is a 5-figure absolute home run, or if it's just, you know, a nice profitable car, which I'm not going to complain about either, but you guys know which one we're after, right? You were supposed to hit a home run. That was the whole bit. That was the joke there. And of course, being that our goal is to do this as cheap as possible, we're starting cheap. And I mean $5.07 cheap. The car had 2 key fobs. I don't anticipate that they're the issue. In fact, they're not the issue. But we're gonna go ahead and throw new batteries in them. That way, say if there's one faulty battery, it's not like confusing the other key fob. I don't know. I'm trying to get away for $5. It's not gonna work, but we're gonna do it anyway. For anybody who's actually worked with one of these key fobs before, you know how bad they are. These are absolute junk. Utter junk.
They look fancy.
They're not fancy. They're the same as the Chevy Cobalt, so they're definitely not fancy, all right? You're supposed to have to hit this button to get it out. Garbage. Now, if you remember from earlier in the video, we do have a new battery in this car. Obviously, when an issue appears out of nowhere, like the previous owner claimed that this did, you always check what you last replaced. If there's something changed, if there's something new, it's a good chance that that could be it. We're gonna go ahead and start it on the jump pack, and then I'm gonna pull it off. We're gonna let it run on just the battery, make sure that it's charging for 1, and 2, see if it shuts off. If it does shut off, Fernando, then we're gonna run it on just this and see if we get the same result. Give it a shot. Voltage is perfectly fine when it's running. It doesn't look like... Was that you? Ugh. So attempt number 2. Let's see how it runs on just the jump box. Crank her up. Now, I don't mean to brag, guys, but my Corvettes ran for longer than 30 seconds, so I do suppose this is a wise move. According to the old camera here, we're almost at a minute. She don't sound so bad.
No, I like it. I like the chop.
Ran long enough that I feel like it's prudent, I guess would be the word, to back it up to the door because it smells like fuel in this entire shop. It's been running for a half hour now. At this point, we'd be dumb not to replace the battery. Is that ultimately gonna be the fix? I don't know. At this point, it's holding up well in the jump box and it did not do that on the battery, so we gotta try it. I feel like we just ruined a good thing, shut the car off after it's been running for that long. Hopefully we can get it to do it again. Now, being that I don't want to come off a possible good battery for a core, I think we're gonna snatch the one out of this burned up 13 Grand Sport. We'll give him that as a core. We're not giving him our brand new, possibly bad, possibly faulty battery. Oh yeah, that's a core battery if I've ever saw one. All right, a little bit of interesting news here. This is the wrong battery. I don't think that would necessarily cause an issue. This bad boy here, without a handle on it, of course, is a Group 85 Duralast Gold from AutoZone. And this is not the battery that's listed for this car. We're gonna take this thing, sit it here, and install this guy, a T5. I still truly doubt this is the issue, but being that we're scratching our heads and don't have much else to go on, it certainly can't hurt. And I'm honestly a little bit, probably naively excited that this might work. Fernando, should we hit him with it?
Yeah.
We hit him with it? You sure?
Yes.
She ain't going nowhere.
What about if it doesn't start?
Please don't say that. Just stop, man. Come on. Start the clock.
Put it out.
God damn it. I thought we got lucky. I really thought just for a little bit we got lucky. Back to the drawing board. Well, I suppose what fun would life be if everything came easy? So we're gonna have to try a couple more things here. First up, I'm gonna go with the start switch. The only one we have laying around to take is out of a fire car. This probably will not go well, but we don't have much of another choice. I did not anticipate this is how I was gonna be spending the latter part of my Saturday.
Oh my God.
Just putting that out there.
It's just weird.
It is weird. It's very, very weird. There we are. I do have a feeling this is going to be the next useless thing we do today, but we got to try it. Old one. New one with a nice flame broiled type smell. Car doesn't have a new car smell anymore, so we're gonna have to clean that out a little bit at some point. Back on the clock, 10 minutes.
You cleaning a car, that's impressive.
Don't even start.
It's just the reality.
It would be nice to actually spray this car off today, but it would freeze instantly because it is, I don't know, 15 out here right now. I'm trying to like be nice to the car. Maybe it'll be nice to me back and won't shut off again.
Oh, okay.
And we can make some good money and not be here all night. Time for a rip.
Hopefully this dry test gets you motivated to get this year one done. Yeah. I'm crossing finger crossed right now.
Just clear it out a little, you know? Gotta give it a little something.
I like to see how confident you feel with Corvettes.
It's not like I've ever put one in a ditch that looked a lot like that. That never happened. On an unrelated note, this is why I'm really glad my car's a hardtop. This roof creaking.
I don't like that.
No. It is so cold out here. We do have to check the DOT code on these tires because it does not hook. They have to be old. Not smile, right? Because we had so much work to do with this, the bodywork, the electrical, we didn't really ever talk about how this car drives, and I gotta give it to it. For a base car, it's nice. The C6's LS cars in general, if you have a really, really aggressive cam in it, they're notorious for bucking and just being kind of a pain to drive. I mean, I'm in 5th gear now, 1300 RPM. You have ever so slightly a little bit of bucking, and it is not bad at all. Put it down to 6 at 1,000 RPM.
I can take
this
that.
Is a drivable cam.
Yeah.
It has done everything we've needed it to do, except one thing.
That was awesome.
I was trying to call it something clever to say there, but I just had a dumb fucking smile on my face. Corvettes, man, you gotta love them. Well, I think as soon as we cross this little path here, we're officially, technically, back at the shop.
Yes.
So I guess I'm ready to call this a win. And with this W comes a bunch of good news. One, the car drives awesome. Not only does it not shut off, it runs its ass off. Two, we're gonna make a ton of money. Well, let's go tell you how much money.
Now I see why. Different 2012.
He is not lying. 2012. Don't quote me on this, guys, but I believe the Eagle F1s are the tires that came on this car. I think we have ourselves a set of original tires, which I guess is the risk you run when you buy a 23,000 mile car. Now, comps on this car were really, really tough. As you can see, 14 for sale nationwide. That's 2012 and 2013. A few comps that happen to be closest to this car are right around $35,000, but they're both automatic. That drives the price down a little bit. The manual cars definitely pull a little more money. Now, from an enthusiast standpoint, that does seem kind of weird. I could get a Grand Sport or even a Z06 for that kind of money. Is this a car I would buy for the price it would cost? Absolutely not. Truth is though, guys, the fact that I wouldn't buy it doesn't matter one bit. The market simply is what it is on this car, and if it never had this accident, it's easily a $35,000 car. That's not taking into account the mods whatsoever. You can argue that one way or another. I think it's a good thing. Other people would think it's a bad thing. That sounds fine and dandy, but as we all know, the accident did happen. So what's it worth? It's a clean title. It's not on the Carfax. That's big. It definitely doesn't hurt that the build, including all the damage, is documented on YouTube in stunning quality video, I might add. All those factors taken into account, coupled with the fact that the wreck was extremely light, as you guys are well aware, I'm posting the car for 30 grand, and I think it'll sell for that very quickly. I do find it a little weird that this 23,000 mile start button ended up being the issue. There's no obvious damage to it, but hey, the car's still running, and at this point, it's been almost 2 hours and she's still sitting outside chopping away. Now that it's looking like that's the case, we didn't even have to do any major work to it. I was fully convinced that I was gonna have to use this Tech 2. I've never used one of these before. I was gonna have to figure it out. It was gonna be a giant mess. Fernando, it didn't end up being like that.
I'm happy.
I'm sure this goes without saying, but I am happy as well. All in parts-wise labor, we're at $1,502. I mean, Fernando.
You can't beat that.
Can't beat it. We're not quite gonna double our money on it, but I'm in no mood to complain. We're gonna make $14,500 on this car. And there's nothing in there about not applying the cars? The employee discount section. Yeah. Oh, no, great. Yeah, I'm real excited about it. All right, see you on Monday. Okay, so it looks like I forgot some very important verbiage in the employee handbook, and I guess this car is gonna be sticking around the shop. So we didn't quite make $14,000 today. We still made out really good on it, because even with the old Leasy Parts employee discount, we were in this thing cheap enough where we can still make some money and have one very, very happy employee. And of course, now that it looks like we have that one done and wrapped up, I suppose it's only fair that we move on to this one. Ah! Of course, I know you're excited about it. I'm excited about it. I'll see you guys back here very soon for a ZR1 episode. So I have decided, because that whole employee discount type thing you pulled on me, I'm just gonna siphon a half hour out of your paycheck for the next 3 years. Woo! If you don't hit at least $1.80 on the way home, you'll get fired. Well, that's that. I just imagine Fernando coming in, you know, on a Saturday like this. I'm like, what dumb idea is Lee gonna have for a video today? What stupid gimmick are we gonna have to do?
So I'm supposed to hit you with the 2x4? That's
No. You don't have to be a 2x4, man.